Hey guys, this is Ellington with the Backseat Generals coming to you today with a 3v3 land battle. Myself, I'm on a tournament team that's doing just a small tournament, and every once in a while you may have to get into a field fight in the tournament. So we wanted to do some, been trying to do some more field battles lately just to get kind of get an edge on it, try to get a little bit more experience with field battles, instead of just doing siege battles. So today we're doing a 3v3. This is not my whole team, but we're still just, getting some practice here. So first off here as Armenia, we have Pedro, and then in the middle here as Lusitani, we have myself, and then on my right-hand side, as Egypt, we have Silent Fart. Now on the other side here, we have a big force of Nervii here. Nervii is being brought by Dave. Dave is actually the third member of my team. The team is myself, Dave the Vassal, and Silent Fart. And then Kush here is Einar Lone Wolf, and Galatia is Billy Blazes. So giving you a quick, go over of the army comps. Galatia, you can see here, has a big army, or a big cav force over here. Got 5 units of melee cav back here, and then 2 units of skirmisher cav. He's got a pretty standard, Galatia army, a lot of Galatian legionnaires, some mercenary Syrians, and a couple spears to help out. They're all kind of put together, but Kush here, once again, kind of a typical Kush army, a bunch of Shotel warriors that are backed up by Kushite slave infantry, and then Nervii has a bunch of these fierce swords with a couple naked warriors scattered around. Kush brought the Royal Kushite archers, and I think Nervii brought the Gaelic hunters, so that's why we can't see them. And then he's also got a big force of a mighty horse and noble horse over here with a naked spear to back them up. Right here in front, myself as Lusitani has a couple guerrilla warriors here. Was looking for a little bit of a surprise attack. Then Egypt, Silent over here as Egypt, has 3 units of Ptolemaic Cav, 2 units of Thorough Spears here. He's brought 3 Rhodian Slingers and 1 Egyptian Slinger. And then he brought a kind of a big pike force here. He has, I think it's 4 units of Egyptian pikemen, backed up by 3 units of thorax swords, a carrying axeman, and a Galatian royal guard. And then he has a Levy Thorough Spear over here. Lusitani, myself, I brought kind of a standard Lusitani army. Pretty much consists of a bunch of veteran shield warriors and Lusitani swordsmen, or Iberian swordsmen or Lusitani swordswomen. So I've got 4 veteran shield warriors, 2 Lusitani swordswomen, 2 spearmen, 2 Lusitani nobles, and a Scutari cav, and then I brought Balearic slingers. And Armenia brought a lot of cavalry. He's got 2 Eastern Cataphracts, 2 Azat Knights, 3 Noble Blood Cav, a Royal Cataphract Gen, and then 4 Armored Horse Archers. He did bring a small army of infantry just to kind of protect his flank here. So yeah, that's the army comps. Let's go ahead and see how this goes. So right off the bat, I'm sure you guys could assume what happens here. My Lusitani guerrillas get charged right off the bat. I don't think Nervii was even specifically meaning to charge that. I think he meant to go forward and just saw them and decided to just kill them. Just not a bad idea. I think the main thing that this is going to allow to happen is they're going to focus on this enough that I think Egypt, as you can see, is bolting forwards. He's going to be able to get his army a little further into position than he may have been able to without this distraction. He's also pushing his Ptolemaic cav up on the flank here. I don't think any of Nervii's cav can go toe-to-toe with the Ptolemaic cav. They've got pretty good calves, so... Armenia here is pushing forward. He's pushed forward most of his archers here. He's just kind of peppering them down. But I think Galatia kind of realizes that he's kind of in a bad spot. He's got a lot of cav, but he doesn't have enough cav. But he is rushing forward a bunch of his infantry here, trying to take this little town. Not a bad idea by them trying to basically take this town and break up our formations that way. It's not a bad idea. As you can see, my guerrilla troops are starting to fall and break here, so that is going to be about over, but the Egyptian and Nervii cav is starting to engage. The Ptolemaic cav is engaged with 2 units, well, 1 mighty horse, 1 noble horse, which is the Gen. Oh, this is going to be rough. Does he see it? Does he see it? I don't think he does. Alright, so Egypt's Gen just gets charged headlong by 2 mighty horse, which, you know, the Ptolemaic can win that, but Ptolemaic are shot cav, which means you want to be using them to get charges. So pulling them out, charging them in, pulling them out, charging them in. Not to sit in prolonged melee. Now, cav as a whole doesn't do great in prolonged melee, but if you can, you want to keep your shot cav moving as much as possible. They benefit from their high charge bonus. So the Ptolemaic cav here looks to be holding its own against the noble horse. It did, I think, fight off another one of the units, and then he's got 2 of his thorough spears here supporting that cav fight. Now, myself, I'm getting engaged here, kind of with both Kush and Galatia. So I'm kind of trying to set up a line here that will be, you know, kind of protect my flank against the Galatian forces over here. And then Kush has a unit over here as well. And then I'm trying to kind of complete my line between myself and Silent Fart. So I've got my 3 of my veteran shield warriors here protecting this flank while I try to finish off, try to win on this flank. The swordswomen are in combat, and then my spearmen are in combat. And then I've got my slingers duking it out with the Kushite archers. Slingers are not a bad unit to bring to a field battle, because slingers have a flat arc to their firing, which means that when there's a lot of buildings in the way, they have a lot of issues. So on a field battle where everything is pretty much just a straight shot, slingers actually tend to do pretty well. So don't be afraid to bring slingers instead of archers to a field battle. A lot of times they can be a hell of a lot cheaper than archers. So, now not always, but a lot of times they can be. Now, the thing here is that my troops, my Lusitania troops, are incredibly weak to arrows, so we'll see how that turns out. Armenia is duking it out with some Galatian spears with his hillmen, Cartly axemen going against Galatian legionaries, and then some Cartly axemen going against these guys here as well. But he is going to get a huge charge on the back of these Galatian legionaries. 155. Oh, man. Now, immediately didn't look like a ton of kills, but now you can start seeing the numbers starting to drop. They did not like that flank at all. But now the mercenary Cappadocian cav from Galatia is going to come in and do the same thing. He did get a good charge with his Royal Cataphracts against these Galatian spears, and he's about to break them, so that's not good for Galatia. It looks like Galatia's just literally just trying to do as much as he can to hold off Armenia. Oh, man. So back here in the back, it looks like Kush had some cav hidden in the trees back here, and I think Armenia must have been trying to come around here to get a flank, and in the process just discovered these units. So he's got, let's see, Armenia's got 3 units here trying to keep them held down, because if Kush can come to help this fight, that's might get a little sticky for Galatia. Now, Galatia's got his archers over here, and they are so exposed. He has almost nothing there to protect them. So these archers are about to get charged, but he's putting in his horse skirmishers to try and slow this cav unit down. Those Azat Knights are just going to eat through anything. Now, my flank over here, my slingers are getting beat pretty bad by the Kushite archers. You know, unfortunately, it just didn't turn out to be a good matchup there. You know, archers and Lusitani just do not get along. I've got a new Lusitani noble here in combat with some swordsmen, and then I've got my Gen coming in to protect this flank while Egypt is putting in his Levy Thorough spears, firing into the flanks here. Egypt is basically, looks like he's putting a lot of units to face this way. Oh, and then I've got a cav unit. So what's interesting, there's actually a big gap right here between Nervi's, or between Kush's units here. So I'm going to take my cav and I'm going to push them right through this area here. They're going to get shot a little bit by Kush, but I don't think Kush really realizes what's happening. So this cav unit is going to come in and he's going to charge into the Kushite Royal Archers. They get a solid charge here. It's nothing crazy. The main thing, though, is that it shuts up the archers for a little bit. He's going to retreat his Shotel warriors and come in and attack the Scutari Cav, which could open some good flanking shots by the Egyptian archers. Now, Armenia is starting to come in and help this flank by charging into the backs of a lot of these units, which is really helping. I was starting to lose, and if Armenia wasn't able to start helping with its cav, I think I would have lost this middle, and we probably would have lost the game. So through this, we've got Egypt is attacking some fierce swords over here, and Kush is really, I think Kush realizes that he is way overextended, and he is going to try and box up around this village to see, basically just to protect all the flanks, because he's got Armenian cav on this side, he's got a massive Egyptian force over here, and then he has these guys here to worry about too. I mean, it's not a lot, but there's still units here, you know. You can't just forget about units. So now Egypt is really just zoning out most of Nervi's units. He doesn't need to engage, so he's not going to. Nervi basically has to come to him. You know, Egypt has the strong position, so Egypt's not going to leave the strong position. Now myself, looks like I am still taking on some Shoto warriors, but Egypt is getting some great shots into that. But I really, let's see, Lusitania Nobles, that's the only unit there, and then I have 3 units here, and then this tiny unit of slingers. Like a swordman got around, but these Galatian Royal Guard are just going to tear it to pieces. And Armenia is just circling Kush like a shark. You know, his cav is fast, he's speedy. They are a little tired. Well, maybe these guys aren't. Yeah, so his cav is a little bit tired. So he probably is going to take a little bit of time and maybe rest him up a tiny bit. But Egypt is just starting to finish off Dave here. Nervi is just kind of trying to push in and distract Egypt as much as he possibly can. But we're just kind of encircling Kush here. Kush is just kind of trying to keep up some sort of defensive line, and his archers are really laying into these Armenian axemen over here. Now, I am going to take my time. You know, there's no point in me pushing in my units onto Kush right now because I don't have enough. So if I push my units in, they're just going to get annihilated. So I'm holding for Egypt to get ready, and I'm just going to go in and support Egypt. I believe at this point my gen is dead. You know, he's down to 16 men, but I do have a couple units left, and Lusitania Nobles themselves are a tough. Alright, so looks like Nervi did sneak his gen around and got into some of Egypt's archers. Or his slingers, I should say. I always do that. I always immediately refer to range units as archers, even though I know they're not archers. He is going to come back in and get into another slinger unit. He's doing pretty good damage, 181 kills on that gen. And then his naked warriors are engaging looks like a Galatian Royal Guard and a Levy Thorough Spear. Yeah, so that gen is just getting focused down here. He's about to go down. Now Armenia is starting to engage the left side of Kush's line. And then he's got Kush has his archers reforming to help support this side. Once again, this cav is just sitting here waiting to go in. Looks like there might be an opening here. Now, Kush might see it already. It looks like these Kushite Royal Archers are out of ammo. So they might just be trying to plug this gap because they see that this cav can just run straight in. Now, Egypt is really just starting to lay into the Shoto warriors with his archers. He's unimpeded. He can basically just sit there and do what he wants. I do have a Lusitani Spearman. I think these guys came back from routing, and I'm starting to move my infantry in a little bit, getting in line with the Egyptian forces. A lot of times, the best thing you can do is try not to outpace or get too far behind your allies. If you get way ahead of your allies, you are more likely to get focused down. And if you fall behind them, you're basically leaving your allies out to hang. And so by keeping yourself relatively in line with your allies, it keeps a very unified force, very unified attack or defense. So keep that in mind when you're playing your battles, and that applies to siege battles and field battles. Just try and keep pace with your allies, either, or if they're getting way ahead, try to get them to slow down. Now, as you can see, we are starting to move in. There is a cav charge coming in on these Shotel warriors. Oh, that was massive. As you can see, Kush tried to condense his square a little bit because he had way too much ground to cover, but this cav just blew a massive hole in it. And now we've got another cav unit coming on this side, and that's only Kushite royal archers, really. There's I guess there's a big, there's a Shotel warrior unit there, but still, now this other cav unit's going to come in and charge the back of these guys, and as you can see, it's just causing a massive break here. And I'm sure you could see already that is going to be it. All right, so let's go look at the kills. Now, Pedro did the best with his cav, 2,200 kills. Then Silent with 1,900, and Ellington and myself, Ellington, myself with 1,700. And then on the other side, Billy Blaze, unfortunately, he's the one who got matched up against the massive cav army. 916 kills for him. Dave with 1,713. Einar with 1,768. So myself, my best units really, my nobles 161. My slingers did well, 100, all over, or most of them over 100. Veteran shields did pretty good, 130, 126, 170. My Pedro, his cav all did pretty phenomenal, honestly. 297 on the Azat Knights, 192, 100. So yeah, all of his cav did very, very well, and his infantry actually did pretty good too. 176, 244, 208, not bad at all. Now Silent, a lot of his units honestly barely got into combat. Now this Glacian Royal Guard, look how healthy it is, and it's still got 293 kills. That is massive. His slingers all did well, all over, basically all over 150 except for this one. And his cab did all they needed to do, 84, 109, 51. Thorax Sword with 172. Now on the other side, Kush here did solid. All of his infantry did pretty decent. His archers did very well, but I mean, they were up against Lusitani. That's, it's just huge for archers. That's just good to get a lot of kills. Dave here, his cab did solid, 202, 127. Celtic Warriors, 155, not bad. 105 Fierce Sword, 126 Fierce Sword, 146, so not bad by Dave. Now, Einar, or Billy Blade, sorry, his cav, it just got overwhelmed. It's not bad play by Glacier, it was just bad matchup, and you don't know that on a field battle until the game starts. You have no idea who you're going up against, what the army is. His infantry, a lot of his infantry did fine, 157, 176. But yeah, unfortunately, he just got a really bad matchup. Well, guys, thanks so much for joining to watch this. Keep in mind, I am part of the Backseat Generals, and that is a group that includes myself, Joe on it, and Gorm. Their links are going to be in the description. Make sure to check them out. And while you're there, give me a like and a comment. I'd really appreciate it. All right, guys. See you later.